Okay, Swim England fans, it's Grant Robbins here. Welcome back to our past and present series. Tonight, we're joined by two absolute legends of our sport. We've got Olympic champion and world record holders in breaststroke, Adrian Moorhouse and Adam Peaty. Lads, thank you very much for joining us tonight. We are really looking forward to listening what you've got to say about the current situation, how it was in your day, Adrian, and how it's going to be in the future, Adam. I'll leave you in the background. By all means, just chat, swimming, breaststroke, whatever you feel is appropriate for our audience, the swimmers out there, our swimming family that are really eager to listen to what you've got to say and how you've done it in the past. So really appreciate your time and looking forward to listening to you both. So over to you guys.
Great. Thank you, Grant. So hi, Adam. I mean, it's interesting, actually. I was thinking about this, obviously, before, because Grant set us up, and I was thinking that you weren't born before any of mine. So it's a bit of a history lesson. That's the first thing. And I've commentated on nearly all of yours. So I've seen all your career evolve, and I guess you can only see mine through the history books, I guess. But so that kind of makes it a bit interesting. I remember, because we haven't spent a lot of time together, because I've been in the dreaded media camp, you know, where you're a commentator, you get the media pass, you can't see the swimmers, and it's a bit rubbish, really. But I did meet you in Glasgow. I think Mel introduced us. I don't know if you remember that, when the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow in 2014.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
So that's the first time we met, and then that was almost like the start of your major successes, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, start of the campaign, as I call it.
Is that, did you think of that campaign before 2014, or was it get on the podium there first and then see?
Yeah, it's pretty much get to the podium in Commonwealths. Because I mean, for me, my obviously for my goals and my dream was always Olympics. That's penultimate goal. I knew that if I didn't make it in 2016, or I wasn't on the right trajectory, or just missed out a year, there's always going to be another Olympics. And 2020 was going to be, my first one where I target a gold or a world record. But I kind of superseded myself. I was always 10 steps ahead of my performance, really. And then I caught up with myself, then I broke it again, caught up, broke it again. So for me, it's kind of, I'd say Commonwealths was the kind of start of the whole project in a sense.
Yeah. Okay, it's interesting because I think I was looking at your sort of history, obviously, and I think we share that in some ways. But the Commonwealths was my first one as well. It's 1982. I was 18 and went to win in Australia, and won that. And it was almost like that started off. I quite liked the Commonwealth. I got the first one where I kind of got onto the Aussies, and I think the Aussies and Canadians were a bit stronger in the old days. I don't know. They also, you get much fight from the Canadians nowadays?
Not really. Breaststroke is, you've got Britain as a breaststroke stronghold.
Yeah.
You got a lot of, Asia, Brazil, Europe. Europe is, very strong at the moment. And I guess the main, I mean, you don't really get much competition from America at the moment in the breaststroke leg. I think it's their weak leg, especially on the medley relay, where we can take it out of them and they put it back, or try to put it back, I guess. So, I guess Europe, and obviously not being a Commonwealth nation or Commonwealth, Europe's not really known to be Commonwealth. Yeah. So it's it's just kind of we kind of get the main competition at Europeans, Worlds, and Olympics as you would expect.
Yeah. So it's interesting because I think about starting and talk about the campaign and dreaming about winning the Olympics and stuff, and how hard as it might be to believe, I was a kid at one point. So I remember at 12, like being inspired by the Olympics. And I don't know, watching, I think my first memory was 1976, David Wilkie winning. I don't know if you had a memory before that of any games that you sort of triggered you as a kid.
I remember, watching 2000, 2004, obviously 2008, but I was never honestly, I was never a guy to watch it and go, obviously it inspired me. Obviously, I looked at videos, I want to be there, but I never thought it would be possible. It's one of these things where you think it's so big and it's almost too big for you, in a sense, like you could never reach that goal. But as soon as you start to break down what it actually takes, then it's, it becomes a lot easier to kind of manage that goal. And honestly, for me, before I made my first Midlands or my first regionals, I never thought it went past regionals. I didn't think there was nationals. I didn't think there was British nationals, like your trials. I just thought you'd get picked from like your regionals and stuff. So as soon as Melk said, "Oh, you've made nationals," I went there first year, top of my age group, first time I raced. The next year I came back with 2 golds, and then kind of went on and on really. And ever since then, really, people have kind of heard my name. I remember 2012, a few of the older ones or the veterans were shaking my hand and stuff because they knew I was fast for a kid, but you don't really prove yourself as a kid. You prove yourself as a senior. And I think they was always aware of me, but you don't really get to, as a male, you don't really come into your own strength and your own kind of, come into your own racing.
Yeah.
You hit 18, 19 until you started weights and whatnot. So yeah, it's always good. Always good to kind of be the underdog, I guess.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because when I saw Wilkie win, I was 12. When I was a little kid at Bradford in a swimming club. Now, he hadn't done any weights, hadn't got any weight muscle on me at all. But I remember meeting him at David Wilkie swimming clinic. So at the age of 12, I persuaded my dad to take me to this clinic in Liverpool, and Wilkie was hosting it. And I remember meeting him, and we all sat around, and he showed his video of his Olympic gold medal. I said, "Who fancies doing this then?" And there's about 40 kids sat around, and I'm going, me, but nobody else put their hands up. And I can't believe it. But what I thought was really interesting, for me, a bit plays out for you maybe, is that inspiration you can be to people and accepting it. But then when they meet you as well, that's when it becomes a bit more real. Because I remember meeting Wilkie thinking, God, he's human. Human beings. That point when you realise you can do it as well, I thought it was interesting because for a while you thought, oh, that maybe isn't for me. But I remember thinking, when it humanised, when you meet Olympic champions, you go, actually, they're right. They're kind of, they're people like me. That was interesting for me, seeing that, because then I started to think that is something for me, making it a bit more real. And I wonder when you go around the country to swimming clubs, the act of just meeting you physically, how that might inspire kids. I don't know if you've picked up on that at all.
Yeah, we run obviously our own race clinics, and some of the kids are shaken when they meet you, or they think you're this god basically. But yeah, I mean, I'm on kind of exact same wavelength that you are a normal person. You've had a normal upbringing. It hasn't like my parents sent me to the mountains to go and find a wolf or something like that. You just have a very normal upbringing. But I believe that it's what you do day to day that defines you as an athlete, and you don't have this massive thing that defines you. You just do the little things very well. And everything around the edges, and I love to race, I love to train, so you've got to have the whole package really. And 99% of the kids that you see coming through the sport won't probably make a career out of it, because there'll be other things that they'd be interested in. Some of them won't be fast enough, or it kind of naturally selects itself. So I think from a young age you've got to have that in your mind, say, look, if I really want to make it, one, I've got to make it. For me, I've got to enjoy it, and secondly, I've got to put 110% effort in every single day until I make something out of it. And I've seen people who have done that and still not made it. So you've got to have that you've got to have that talent as well. You've got to definitely have that talent in the sport to get anywhere really. And unfortunately, not many people have that talent that they follow the black line for 6 hours a day or 4 hours a day, and then go into the gym, and it's a 365-day a year job, really, 24 hours.
So it's just that what you just made me think about there was that quote, so how you do this one thing is how you do everything, and that bit's about mastery of the little pieces. I always thought that I loved doing all the inputs and trying to be the very best at all the inputs and be a master of those things anyway. So I think that stands out for me. It's not just a desire and the belief in yourself, but something about having the bloody mindedness to just tackle everything and master everything.
Yeah, definitely.
I've heard about you having this endless pool when you've kind of been in the water in your back garden. But I do wonder when you're getting back in the pool.
Yeah, so we are going to get back in the pool very soon for it'll be 25 meters. So it won't be a long course, just because we obviously the social distancing, and you can fit more swimmers in the pool if you half it. It's kind of common sense. But the endless pool has been good. It's been a very good tool to use and utilize. It kind of got me in the water 5 weeks earlier than it should have, and it has its limitations. It also has its it kind of sets you free as well, because for me, I need to keep my shoulders moving. I need to keep my legs moving. breaststroke is such a complex and technical, stroke that it's nice to just feel the water and just get on top of the water and kind of get a nice, I don't know, just, yeah, I guess just a nice feel for, what you normally do day to day, I guess. And, there's only some cycling and running a swimmer can do, or, gym. As soon as I go into the gym, I kind of blow up. I get so much muscle. So I need to keep it down. And obviously then this pool has enabled me to have that.
Yeah. Just quite interesting because that, you're obviously a lot strong. You are very strong. I mean, when I see you and see you now, you 56-year-old man, just obviously it goes away, it shakes away. But I never had it in the first place the same way you guys have it. And I just think that is the one area that we were weaker. We didn't really understand strength, power, and that conditioning. We kind of, we worked hard. We did lots of yards in the pool. And we really tried to understand the science, but we were right early days on understanding strength and power. And that idea that, what you've got to carry through the pool. So if you blow up and get more muscles, they've got to be usable, right? Yeah. It's the one thing I wish I'd known. I wish I had that information then. Now, that how you guys use the scientists, I think is fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. I think as an athlete, it's about the whole picture. It's not about just the athlete's performance, and whatever athlete you see on a podium, there's been 100 or 1,000 people or 10,000 people behind that performance to kind of get to that point. And obviously, science, biomechanics, nutrition, psychology, coaching, family. You got this kind of, I call it the spider web of support, that you've got this whole kind of web, and each layer it gets more and more complex. And I keep my circle around me very close, but then obviously it goes out and goes out and goes out. So those people who have an impact, it kind of branches out so far that you don't really realize who has an impact. So but I'd say the core of science has gone so far in any sport. There's so much data. And I think technology has been played a massive part in understanding how much muscle you need, or what you need to eat before a race, what your oxygen should be like before a race, or how warm you should be. So it's gone massive leaps and bounds. But when you're talking about 0.01 these days, it's getting harder and harder to break world records. You got to look at ways which are harder to understand to get that kind of performance benefit.
You might not believe this, but when I was training at Leeds one night, this lady came on. Terry got a nutritionist or somebody from one of the universities, because he was really trying to get us to be curious. And he said to this woman said to me, "Why don't you drink water during your session?" I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "We're in water." He said, "But why don't you rehydrate?" I said, "Well, why would you rehydrate?" Seriously, this is 1986. I just won the Commonwealth, and I was won the world's, got disqualified. He was telling me why I should rehydrate, and that's how far behind we were. I was 22. Oh, wow. And I didn't drink. And she said, "Look, let me weigh you before the session." And so she weighed me, body weight, and then weighed me after the session. And I'd lost something like 6 pounds of body weight. Oh, wow. She said, that's water loss. And it wasn't until that point that it hits you in the eyes when an expert says, "Here's how I can contribute." You go, "Well, a little bit, how?" And then, I was so curious after that, so open-minded. Terry helped me, my coach helped me be open-minded to all the different inputs. Yeah, we tried our best to get the spider's web we could, but I don't know. The progression's been brilliant. It's been brilliant.
Yeah, and I think it is getting better and more complex. And I think you need those people in your life to kind of simplify it. Because if I look at it on paper and I've got all these things to do and I've got all these people to meet and I've got all these calculations and stuff, that ain't good to me. I've just got to swim fast. Do you know what I mean? So, like Mel, she does a great job at filtering everything that I need to do or that I don't need to do, but we'll always listen. We'll always, try and learn. And if, we'll always try it. And if it doesn't work, we won't use it again. There's no harm in trying new things. But, like you're saying with your hydration, there's things today that are the equivalent of that. Like, do you take caffeine or do you take pre-workout for every session or every gym session, or how do I recover? So, there is equivalent things these days, which in 10 years time, that'll be the norm. Or for 20 years time, that will be the norm, and we're still on the kind of edge of discovery with that, I believe. Yeah,
but it's that attitude to try and push the boundary, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned that. Is there one area where you think there's where I might get a little bit extra? Are there any specific areas you look at?
In general?
Yeah, in the whole of the web. Anything that to contribute to your overall performance that you think here's an input we could get a bit better at, or we're looking at, or we need to know more about you looking across sports?
I mean, for me, probably biomechanics. I think on the dive, my pull out. I was racing in Edinburgh before this COVID stuff kicked off.
Yeah.
And I'm getting so much better now on the pull-outs. They were probably on track to probably be some of the world's best now. And then, yeah, it's just my dive, I guess. Just understanding the power and, how I'm hitting the air. We still haven't. That's the only thing where I'm not, 100% certain on. And it'll come to me. It's just taken about 6 years now. But it will eventually come to me, and I'm just waiting for that moment for it to spark. Just like my stroke did, and look like everything else did. So I'm just waiting for that now to kind of hit me and go, this is what we need to do and this is how we do it. But the team are behind that are working very hard to make sure that we do get there. It's just, a puzzle sometimes that you have, 10 steps forward or 5 steps back. You got to try new things to get faster.
Yeah. I'm just curious about racing now. Your rivals, how would you look at your head-type battles through my sort of 14 years or something? I'm just wondering about whether you have any head-to-heads. Are you racing yourself on the clock? Really strong rivals. I mean, I didn't dismiss everybody, but I kind of had a self-confidence, let's say, that made me believe I could win. So I had some strong rivalries. Do you have any that you kind of go, that might be a bit of a tough one? Or are you so far ahead in your own?
I mean, I always, to this day, I think Cameron was the biggest rivalry just because of his raw speed. No one's had that kind of raw speed on 100 that get near me. And he's just, you have, people are along these careers which are just pure racers. And he was a pure racer. And I think the pure racers are always people to be kind of feared in a sense because you never know what they're going to do. So Commonwealths, obviously he beat him on the 50. But I knew I wasn't in any shape or form. And I knew if Cameron was on his, perfect shape or he had that look in his eye, then, he could beat me. And yeah, I mean, I learned a lot from those games. And, kind of came back and broke a world record a few months later from that. So I needed that learning experience from him to, give me that. And I think in general, I'm not really that fussed on what other people are doing. I couldn't really care what, people do, in pre-season or in the season. For me, what matters is the championships. If you can't perform at the championships, then it's almost like there's no point doing it, in a sense. I race kind of well all year round because I put pressure on myself. I want to, be that kind of athlete who always performs. And some days you can't perform because your training load is so high, but, some days you can. And, that's just the way it is. And, going into a championships, I make sure that is my season's best every single time. The July championships or the August championships. So, yeah, I never go into a meet going thinking, what's he going to do or what's, he going to do. It's just a waste of energy for me. I'd like to keep my energy internal and, make sure I'm racing really, really well and, everything's spot on so I can put that performance down.
Yeah. Focusing on other people is a waste of time. Particularly in the ready room, I used to think that you might as well just waste. I saw people just getting wrapped up in other people and sort of wasting their time.
Yeah,
I had a big rivalry with a guy called Victor Davis during my career. We were both 18 when we made our first Worlds, but when we raced each other through to 88, so 6 years of racing. But from 82 to 86, we didn't speak to each other. We sat in the ready room and we didn't say a word to each other. He kind of there's this kind of, I don't know, it's like a hatred thing going on. It's kind of interesting. And then we became best buddies after that, after 88.
It's crazy. It is crazy how sport changes and how people change along their journey. So many rivals have changed from when I first met them into who they are now. And I think it's so nice to obviously see that. And I think you never really want to take sport too seriously, but at the same time, it is your life. So you got to have that respect and understanding that, it is everything, but at the same time, you can't let it be everything because these are just normal people. They're going to have families one day, and you're going to have a family one day, like I am now. So it's you want to have that kind of nice, friendly thing, but once you're in it, you hit the wall of water. Everyone hits the water. It's war, isn't it? So they've got to understand that as well.
Yeah. Best moments. I'm just thinking about what the press or what people say to me, what must be the best moment, that must be the best moment, but it never was. I just wonder if your best moment, the one that you think is your best one, is that the obvious one that people would say, or what would you?
Which where?
Well, any best performance, any best swim, best moment you remember for, what, that particular one was one that I just loved more than anything, and people might not recognise it.
You broke up on the championship. Which one was it?
Oh, any. I'm just thinking any particular swim that you think was your personal standout.
I think Rio. I think I was ahead of my time in Rio. Yeah. I had a massive adrenaline shot though. To be fair, I was on one on that whole meet. I think Olympics just brings that kind of side out into me. So I was really excited to obviously race this summer. Just got to delay that adrenaline shot for a year now. But I think for me, a standout performance for me, I should never have swam as fast as I did in 2018 at Europeans. I was carrying an extra 2 kilogram, 3 kilogram of muscle. I just had a lot of raw speed and a lot of endurance. And I kind of got my head together and spun it around after 3 months and just said, look, let's take it back to simple terms. I think that for me was a standout performance. Anytime I look back and I'm like, wow, I shouldn't have got a world record there. No way. I didn't deserve the world record. No, I did do it. Where else would I say? I'd say 2016 Europeans, untapered, unshaven. That was a fast meet, 58.1, I believe, or 58.2. And in London, that was one of my favourite meets, just before Olympics, and obviously Olympics itself. We all know what happened there. And then I'd say one of my worst meets was probably Russia, 2015 Worlds. Just because I was a young lad who didn't really understand racing. I didn't understand the arena. It was so new to me that I almost became someone I didn't want to be. I wasn't me. I wasn't the pure racer. I was almost too anxious to step out my shell, which is why I'm so adamant on getting these kids these days through my clinics or through the other channels that I have, is just to be yourself and be a fearless racer, and don't worry about the crowd, don't worry about the people next to you, just do you. And that's what I'm trying to get across as much as I can these days. But I think Russia, if you flip it on its head, was probably the worst time as a racer for me, because Cameron was on top of his form as well, and you got the two worst combos where you feel a bit worse, you feel a bit bad in yourself or your confidence or your body, and you got your your number one opponent who's springing all about. So I
think we commentated on that from Manchester, I think, because Andy James now hurt his back, so he couldn't travel. So one minute I was on a flight to Russia to go commentate, and the next minute they said, no, you're in Manchester instead. So we never made it there. Commentating with our hairbrushes off the TV. Yeah. No, it's interesting. Because I enjoyed Olympics, but I also enjoy world records. I think the world records are something I enjoy because there's that feeling that you've gone faster. I know you've gone a lot faster than I did, but that you've gone faster than anybody has at that point. Do you know what I mean? So when you break a world record, it's like, no, this whole thing's been swum forever, and nobody's gone as fast as I have done. I think that the world records, and it's that realization that you've taken it to somewhere else. And I think you've probably had more of that, because I only broke about 5, 6. You've done a lot more than that. But I think those moments you're taking it on and you're moving it beyond where other people have ever taken it, that was sort of something for me was quite strong.
And I always see, I never really get caught up in what I do. After all these years or after all these world records, I'm never like, and I don't know. I enjoyed being the best in the world, but I think I've got a little bit used to it. I took it a little bit for granted, I guess. But that's only a natural process. And I just enjoy now, pushing myself every single day and pushing myself to get it again, and break it each season or whatever I need to do. But I think, I don't know, it's not really a word for it, I guess. I enjoy the moment. I enjoy having the world record, but I also keep pushing on, so I quite enjoy it. I think once I retire, I'll look back and go, wow, these were incredible times, or I really enjoyed this meet or whatever. But until then, I'm still in the game, so I can't look back. I can't review my game because I'm still in it. And I will be in it for a long time. But
Yeah.
I think, you know, I will break it again. It's inevitable. It's just how I do it and when I do it and where I do it, I guess.
No, you're right. It's interesting because I mean, obviously, with the benefit of hindsight, I've been able to review it because I quit a long time ago. So it makes it a little bit easier to put in a container. What else interests you outside swimming? If you've got something that interests you.
Staying at home at the moment. No, it doesn't even interest me. I like my cars, shopping normally, or restaurants, or going out to eat. I'm quite a social person, so I enjoy being, you know, around family, friends, and whatnot. So, other than that, mate, my life's pretty boring at the moment. I think a lot of people is, but I enjoy my movies, my TV series, my music. I love my music. You can see my vinyl player behind, probably. So yeah, I enjoy those kind of things. But honestly, I try and change up each and every day, and just not really trying to stick in the same kind of rhythm, because swimming is monotonous. To get up, you know, eat, or get up, swim, go back home, eat, swim, train, whatever. So it's just, it's kind of samey same, and I don't like to stay in that. I like to change up my days and do different things, but whatever I'm feeling. I normally, honestly, just like kind of wait to the weekend to do anything that requires a little bit more energy, because obviously my training takes up a lot of my energy, and I have to recover. I have to, you know, give that time for my body to, you know, catch up.
So you've been a bit of a social animal. You kind of don't want to be cooped up anymore, then, really, I guess.
Yeah, literally.
I mean, about mental health, really, and as you get needing people and needing to get out there.
Yeah,
I was curious about them, about how much you're looking forward to get back into the training regime.
Yeah, and I think this is what I was speaking to with my girlfriend earlier, that I think for me especially, I enjoy rhythm. I enjoy a routine, and I think a lot of athletes do, or I think a lot of people do. And when that routine is taken away, especially for an extended period of time, it has an effect on your brain where you're like, what am I actually training for? You know, what am I doing here? Or it's just a hard thing for your brain to understand, because you've done it for so long. So it's almost going like, why are you doing this? And then obviously you don't really get your dopamine rush, or you don't get your adrenaline. You don't get those things that almost make you feel like you've achieved the day. So for me, normally I come home from training every single day like I've achieved, you know, I've seized the day, or you know, whatever, and some cheesy stuff. And I just say to myself, look, you know, I've done a good job today. And you don't really get that when you stay at home, you train at home. Because I enjoy my drive in to the pool, and I enjoy my drive back, because it's almost time to prep myself for the day, and it's time for debrief for the day. So you're missing those times of the day where they're very small, but they're very important parts of your, you know, your daily routine to kind of review yourself in a sense. And for me, taking that away it's just very hard for, you know, for me to understand. So you know, a lot of people will be struggling with that at the moment.
Yeah. So how is it with Tokyo being next year now for you? How's that shaped and shifted things?
I mean, it's delayed a few things, put a few spanner in the works of a lot of athletes, but you know, best athletes in the world adapt to the environment and adapt to the competition. You know, we've still all got a race, just staying positive. I think now is a perfect time to just be on a back burner for now. You know, I know the Olympics are God knows how long away, 40 months, 15 months away. So it's kind of just, I don't know, just enjoying your life a bit, having a few beers, having a few barbecues, getting out of the way and done with, because, you know, once, you know, we do get the full go ahead to return to full training again, you know, we've got to be on our top, you know, top form. And, you know, we're almost like, you know, I've always said that, you know, the mind is the athlete, body is simply the means. And that, you know, we're just like anything else. We need a rest. Your body needs a rest. You know, your brain needs a rest. If not anything, your brain needs the most rest, because that does all the work. So giving it this opportunity to kind of slow down and, you know, take that rest and take that recovery time is, you know, it's not a bad thing. I think a lot of people think, oh, it's the end of the world, or, you know, I can't believe I've got to wait another year to go to the Olympics. I've been waiting another 4 years for it, or, you know, it's not the end of the world. I'm quite laissez-faire and very chilled anyway. And, you know, I'm honest with myself, how I'm feeling, and I've got a good support team around me. So we'll make it happen. It's just a little bit of a delay. And who knows, it could make me faster. So not complaining.
Yeah, because you'd be doing a major next year anyway, wouldn't you? So you might as well do
exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's just with obviously the kid on the way in September, it would have been nice to get the Olympics done before that. But I think someone that's looking out for us has made it a little bit harder and a little bit more of a challenge. But that's the way life is, and I enjoy a challenge. So
yeah, cool. You got any favourite countries that you like racing?
Budapest, Hungary, and Italy.
Is there any reason why?
Just the fans and the arenas, both arenas. Budapest, the Juno Arena is my favourite, as well as Setacoli, what they called Foro Italico. Yeah, amazing. Both arenas are just incredible.
So the Foro Italico was ice from there. That's one of my favourite. Is it still outdoor?
Yeah. It's pretty much all the same. It's amazing.
Yeah, I love it. It's one of my favourite. I won the Europeans in 1983 before you win anybody's eye, mate. I loved it. Yeah, So, what about training pools? Best training pool?
Either Tenerife or Gold Coast. Florida was pretty good, but I guess Tenerife because it's only 4 hours away and you're on the same time zone pretty much. Yeah. Gold Coast because you get everything with Australia. That's just amazing. The food, the culture, and I would say nightlife.
Australian culture.
Hey.
You say Australian culture,
especially the Gold Coast. You get all the best food. Honestly, you get all the Asian food, and you just get all the people, different types of people, and you're only about 30 minutes away from like literally the jungle. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it down there. How much time do you spend away from Britain training then?
Maybe 12, 15 weeks a year.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, quite a bit. Not a lot, but quite a bit.
Yeah, no, that's fun. Yeah, I spent 4 months down at the Institute of Sport in Australia once, in Canberra. Just went and lived down there and just time with something.
It's a long time. It's a long time to be away. Really long time.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, no, interesting. What else is coming up for you? What else is going on in your world then? Is the child that you're thinking about now? Family?
No, I'm thinking about what I'm having for dinner now, but so I'm just looking out the window, thinking about it. But I don't know. I'm a very simple. Honestly, I think very simple. I think a lot of athletes, especially when they're getting to the top of the game or want to be on the top of the game, they overcomplicate things. But for me, I've always kept it simple. What works today might not work tomorrow, and what's worked in the past might not work today. So stay in the present. Don't get worried about the past. Don't get worried about the future. Just live today, because who knows when it's going to be all over. It's crazy. So for me, I don't know. Just honestly, just take each day as it comes. We're back in Nepal soon, so get a little bit of routine. Stay communicated with the support network. Keep it all going, keep everything running smoothly, and just give your best you can each day. And every day you're not going to have a good day. Some days I wake up and I'm like, can't be asked, can't be bothered to it today. And some days I wake up and I'm like, God, I can't wait for today. And that's just a very natural human way of dealing with it, I think. And just being honest with yourself. So if you are feeling a little bit down, just own it, I guess, and just say, well, how can I make myself feel better? And some days when you are on a high, enjoy it, because it is a roller coaster, and sometimes the lows can bring you down, but you'll also have that high again, and just keep on rolling.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
Ale or lager?
Lager.
Pool boy or kick float?
Pool boy.
Meat or veg?
Meat.
Chips with curry sauce or chips mushy peas?
Oh God, curry sauce.
That's it.
That was a hard one. I love mushy peas and curry sauce, so.
I do. Yeah, mushy peas for me.
Yeah.
If it was interested, mushy peas, dog, kick boy, pull boy.
Yeah.
Ale. Oh, baseball or basketball? You American sport fan?
I'd say basketball. Yeah.
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 Good. Very good. That's it, mate. Grant,
On that note, that was The Last Dance.
Yeah.
Gents, thank you very, very much for your time tonight. Really, really enthralling stories, and interesting, not just for myself, but hopefully those people that tune in a few weeks' time when we put this out on our YouTube channel. So, Adam, I'll let you go and get your dinner ready. And Adrian, good luck in business at this moment in time. Tough time for you.
That's right.
And I wish you the very best of luck going forward. So. Gentlemen, thanks very much for being who you are and what you bring to our sport. So, good night.
Thank you. Cheers, all the best.
Bye.
See you.